Okay, today is day 9 of week 2 of my spinal rehabilitation. Today I went to the recovery center and I sat in a cold tub for 20 minutes meditating. I was pretty proud of myself. I was able to work through the shivers and the burning limbs and focus. It never quite became pleasant, but I did tolerate it pretty well, and I was able to meditate pretty effectively for a while. So I'm proud of myself for that. That's an accomplishment. Overall, my basic state is I'm functional. I'm getting up every day. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I am feeling, feedback in the afternoon and evenings. So there's definitely some pain component here that's difficult to deal with, but it's not overwhelming yet. And I've been able to meter out how much I'm doing each day so I don't cause myself to shut down. So I think I'm walking a pretty good line here. I'm pushing myself, but not so much that I can't function. And I'm mostly focused on my mind right now. I also went 35 minutes in the dry sauna. I'm sweating like a pig. So I was able to meditate in 2 different environments, hot and cold today. And I'm really hoping this will teach my mind to take any environment, regardless of whether it's hot or cold, and be able to kind of calm down and stay at peace even when the circumstances are difficult. So today I want to talk about how gradual this process has been for me to learn about my own body, and how prior attempts at doing something may look like failures, but they actually were stepping stones and learning stones, you can think of them that way, to getting to where I am now. And the example I want to use is swimming. So my baseline activity for my rehab is swimming. And there have been times in the past when I could not swim, or when I swam, I triggered so much pain that I had to stop. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through that history so you can see how even if you start something and don't get where you want to go with it, it's not a failure necessarily, because you might have learned something from it and it'll help you the next time you try to be more effective. So I remember this probably wasn't the first time I tried to swim, but it was a time that I tried to swim. And we had a pool really close to our house in Arizona, and I would walk over there and I just started swimming, some basic laps, and I started feeling this tightness in my lower back. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse each day. And so I wasn't able to swim effectively when my back was like that. So I had to actually stop swimming at that point. Fast forward to today. Now when I go swimming 3 days a week, I'm going and getting a hot laser done on my back, on my middle back, and my neck. Because of the compression fracture in my spine, the curvature is a little wonky, and there are some stress points, one at my neck and one at my lower back. This has something to do with why my back would tighten up when I would swim. But anyway, I go and get this superheated with this laser to mobilize the area so it can move better. And in theory, at least so far, that's working. I am able to swim, and I haven't had to stop because of increasing pain or tightness in my lower back. That's just one thing I learned about swimming. Another is turning my head from side to side is a problem. And so I got a snorkel. I have a front snorkel. It kind of like straps on, and there's like a little headpiece that pushes against my head. And so I don't turn my head side to side in the pool because it causes spinal problems for me. So I use that snorkel. And that's just one more adaptation that I've done. I know I had some other ones in my head, and I think I'm going to space them, but I'm hoping I won't. This is kind of minor, but I learned how to use nose plugs correctly. If your nose is already wet, nose plugs do not work. They fall off. And so because my head's always in the water, I don't want to be snorting water when I breathe, and so I use a nose plug to close my nostrils. Anyway, it's pretty straightforward, but it's just like a little refinement that helped me out a little bit. The other thing that having a snorkel and goggles on and staring at the bottom of the pool does is it keeps my spine flat, right? If I'm looking up, or turning my head to the side, or coming up on a breaststroke to get air, right? What am I doing to my spine? I'm flexing it like this. That's also a problem. And so the snorkel, the goggles, and the nose plug also help me to keep my head down so that my back is parallel with the bottom of the pool. These are all just, again, little things I've learned over time that have helped me to learn how to swim with my injury. With whatever your injury is, obviously you'd have to have different adaptations. Maybe swimming isn't even an option. You might have to do some kind of aqua aerobics, or I think there's even something called aqua jogging my pool's not deep enough at the gym to do it. But like I kind of prefer swimming anyway, so I'm hoping that I can sustain the swimming. And so far, again, it's working, and it's just because I've been patient and adaptive. Oh, I thought of another one. So in the same way that I use the laser to heat up those 3 points on my spine, I actually get in a hot tub for 10 minutes before I ever get in the pool. And the idea is to, again, mobilize my entire body, warm everything up, so I'm not going in there cold, because everything needs to move pretty fluidly for me not to cause problems. And I learned all of this just incrementally over time with what seemed like failed attempts, but really they were just stepping stones for me to get to the next step and to try it a different way and hopefully, again, this time succeed. Time will tell. So I guess that's my tip to you, is to just be patient and to learn from each experience. And if you figure out that something causes you grief, you can either try to push through. That hasn't really worked for me. Or you can adapt your strategy so that you're going to be able to succeed going forward. And it may take quite a few little tweaks to get to where you need to be to do the activity that you love.